Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Sarah and today I'm going to share with you about one of the coolest experiences I've ever had, and that is diving with bull sharks in Fiji. And I really would say that the scuba diving portion scared me even a little bit more than the shark portion, but I'll definitely kind of go over just the whole experience in case it's something that you want to add on to your trip to Fiji. So Barefoot Kuata specializes in these dives. They also do snorkeling with kind of the tamer, more docile sharks as well. So if you're not interested in scuba diving or in the bull sharks, you can still kind of learn about sharks on the snorkel tour. So that is absolutely an option. Another really great thing about Barefoot Kuata is if you didn't want to kind of island hop the Yasawa Islands like I did, even though I 100% recommend it, and I'll include links to various tours in the description to help with your planning. And so while I totally recommend island hopping the Yasawas, if that isn't for you, they do day trips from the main island to Barefoot Kuata because it's the first island within the Yasawa group. So it's the closest to the main island. So even if you weren't doing it the way I did it, there are other ways to go about it that you can add this to your Fiji trip. Now, Barefoot Kuata specializes in this, but I had zero experience scuba diving. So I opted to get open water certified before I left. Now, I did look into getting open water certified in Fiji itself, and that is 100% an option. I did stay at Manta Ray Island Resort for a few nights to try and see the manta rays, but it was the end of the season, so I only saw one. However, they do actually do scuba diving certification. So if you were willing to stay there for like 4 days, you could become certified at Manta Ray Island and then make your way to Barefoot Kuata, and it can be a whole scuba diving kind of Fiji trip, which would also be super amazing. So if you did want to go that route and get certified in Fiji, you absolutely can do that. I opted to get certified before I left just because I didn't really want to stay in one place for 4 days of my 2-week trip. While I didn't get certified at Manta Ray Island Resort, I did do my very first ocean dive there because it was going to be it's the stop right before I ended up at Barefoot Kuata. And when I got certified in Florida, it was in freshwater. And saltwater can be very different. I definitely kind of had a feeling that I would prefer an ocean dive versus this freshwater dive. And I for sure definitely preferred the saltwater ocean dive because I'm just an ocean girl. While I didn't get certified there, they did take great care of me. I did my first ocean dive and it was a fantastic experience. So if that is something you're interested in, definitely check out Manta Ray Island Resort, and then there's also probably other options within Fiji for getting your open water certification. So in Barefoot Kuata, we arrived. It is easily my favorite island that I stayed in, and I loved all the islands, but Barefoot Kuata just had Moana vibes, and I loved it. Oh my god, I just loved it. And when you arrive, they have somebody doing kind of their traditional welcome dance on this rock, and it was, I don't know, it's just so cool. Every island in Fiji, they will greet you with song and they will serenade you as you leave, and it's so charming. I love the Fijian culture. So Barefoot Kuata, I loved the vibes instantly, and once we get there, one of the first things they tell you about is this awakening shark dive, which is this bull shark dive. And so I came there for the dive, but I'm not gonna lie, I was still nervous. I went ahead and signed up for the following morning. Now, if you stay there overnight and you're able to do the morning one goes to a greater depth. It's also less people usually because the day trippers will come out for the afternoon portion. So the morning one that I did, it was just 3 of us, whereas the afternoon one can get a lot more packed. So just keep that in mind if you are wanting to be kind of one of a few people, go out in the morning versus the afternoon when the day trippers come. So yeah, after breakfast, made our way over. They give us kind of a brief explanation. They fit us with our wetsuits, our fins, make sure that we have mask, snorkel, everything is fitting well. You know, they have all of the dive gear set up. You obviously have to sign a waiver, and yeah, they just kind of give an overview. And then we hop into a boat and we head out to the dive site. Now, obviously the anticipation is there, but I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like they're gonna take good care of me. There were a ton of divers, a ton of them, guarding us versus just us 3 divers. So we get out to the dive site and this one diver in the group says, "Is anybody nervous?" So I raised my hand because the other two people that were there, the girl and this other guy, they are experienced scuba divers, whereas I am freshly certified and very inexperienced. So I raised my hand and said, yes, I'm a little bit nervous. So this diver announced himself as Maui. I definitely don't think that's his real name. And I loved it because I was like, oh, that, fits with my Moana vibe. So he stayed with me the entire time. By stay with me, I mean he literally held my hand the whole way down. Now, if you are an experienced diver and you don't want that to happen, don't worry. It didn't happen for the other two. They were more comfortable, and so they were just kind of looked after. But if you are uncomfortable, they will stick with you. And I loved it because it definitely gave me a lot more peace and confidence. So Maui held my hand the whole way down, and we first got to the first dive site, which is more shallow, and the sharks were already there. So they were already expectant of what was coming. And so all of the kind of various divers with whatever job that they had kind of grabbed the gear that they needed, and then we made our way even deeper. And so when you get down there, there's a bit of a rock wall. It's not a high rock wall, it's just kind of like where you're gonna kneel and kind of observe the bull sharks. And then you have people like guards around you they have basically metal rods, but they never touch the sharks. And I think this is probably the coolest part because bull sharks are large and they're just strong, and I don't think aggressive is the right word. I think that's how we've known them to be, is that they're aggressive, but in reality, it's just that when they're hunting, they kind of attack with that aggression, but they're not aggressive in the sense that they're looking for something to attack. That's just how they hunt. So they hunt with kind of that aggressive strength, and we got to see that firsthand with the little tuna heads that they're being fed. But when they were just swimming around, they were just normal, kind of docile, and so whenever they would get too close, they would hold this metal rod just out in front of the sharks, and when the sharks sensed it, they changed direction. So they never were even touched by these metal, like they're kind of rounded rods. They just sensed the metal and moved. And I think that was part of just the coolness of this experience. I don't think that's a word. That's just part of the like amazing aspect of this experience, because you could see these just amazing, majestic creatures just easily kind of move in a different direction. And we were down there for a while kind of observing, and each one of us had people guarding us. There was a cameraman who I think had a guard, and then the person that was doing the feeding had 2 guards as well. And again, those guards weren't touching the sharks, but they were just making sure that the sharks didn't obviously get super close. But the sharks do get close enough to touch. Now, obviously we're not allowed to touch them, and that's not a problem here. I was not going to be testing those waters anyways, but the sharks actually do get that close to you. But it's just such an absolutely incredible experience. And then when it was all said and done, we made our way back up to kind of this reef at the top area, and we got to do our safety stop on this reef and explore the reef. And oh my god, it was just so beautiful. And of course Maui was holding my hand, and he was actually pointing out different things on the reef to just notice and appreciate, and I loved it. So that was kind of how we had our safety stop, and then we obviously were done with the tour. I just loved it. Like, I don't know, this was one of the most adventurous things I had ever done in the water. I had attempted to be in a cage for a great white shark dive in South Africa, but the sharks never showed up, which is just so crazy. So that one never went anywhere. So this was kind of my first like true adventure in the water, and I mean, I really just started high. Like, it was incredible. It's worth doing even if you're mildly interested. So like, I will say there are things that I have no interest in doing. Like, I have zero interest in skydiving or bungee jumping. Now, my cousin loves it. She's like phenomenal at skydiving. She's done over 300 jumps by herself. It's very easy where I live to get into skydiving, but I just have zero desire. And to be honest, for a long time I had no desire to even do scuba diving, but this kind of came on my radar, and all of a sudden now I want to try scuba diving. All that to say, if you have zero desire, you have zero desire, and that's okay. You can do the snorkel tour, or you can just relax at Kuata because it's such a beautiful island. But if you even have the slightest inkling of desire, go for it. I'm so glad that I did. It was absolutely incredible. So yeah, if you are going to Fiji and want to do it, check out the different links that I'm providing in the description, because it is such an easy add-on regardless of the type of trip that you are taking to Fiji. And Kuata is such a beautiful island. And again, if you don't want to do the bull sharks, you can do snorkeling with kind of the more docile variety, or you could just relax on Kuata while maybe somebody in your group wants to do the dive or the snorkel. Whichever you choose. I absolutely loved Kuata and I loved my time in Fiji, so I 100% recommend it. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this video was helpful. As always, the links will be in the description. And yeah, until next time, happy travels. Bye.